Time magazine named Franschhoek one of the world's greatest places. But the small Cape tourist town has been tested by the gods. In 2020, lockdown almost killed it. Then last year, floodwaters washed through its streets and guest houses, not once, but twice. But business and residents stood together and rebuilt their town in time for a bumper tourist season this year. Then in February, Franschhoek was presented with a new proposal that is tearing at the very fabric of the town. Private investors want to erect a cableway here, injecting an initial 230 million rand investment into Franschhoek.
You can't dispute the fact that it's going to be the biggest creator of jobs in Franschhoek, certainly within our time.
You can't turn Franschhoek into a Disneyland. You can't modify it by sticking a cable car up a mountain and hope that it won't change the very nature of the village.
I won't be surprised, in fact, if the people that are objecting are not seeing themselves up there at some point to see what all the fuss is about and then appreciate the view. I'm all for it.
The public have until the end of April to make their objections. So this is still the first phase of the public participation process. Doug Jeffrey and his 12 specialists have assessed the environmental impact.
At this stage, our specialists haven't found any fatal flaws, anything major that they are significantly concerned about.
The base station will be here at 𝗀𝗵𝗶𝗴𝗶 wine estate, just at the start of the Franschhoek Pass, and the top station right in the heart of a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve. There are plans for a curio shop, an all-day wine bar, a fine dining restaurant, and if you're feeling adventurous, a place to launch your paraglider. But what has some locals in a fury is that the developers are hoping to attract 3,000 people a day on this mountain in peak season.
This beautiful mountain is going to have permanent lights on it. It's going to have pylons sticking out.
Julia de Vermaak and her late husband built their retirement dream in this upmarket estate. But she was shocked to discover in February that her home is right next door to the base station of the proposed cableway.
I actually was beside myself with anger that we had not been given the respect of being notified that this was in the pipeline. We would not have bought this plot, as simple as that.
The lower station is just over to the right here.
Her neighbor Thomas Negat showed how close she will be to a 3-tier parking garage and hundreds of visitors traipsing around the dam.
And this is the view seen from, basically from my place here.
From the cableway, they can ogle into her lounge and her swimming pool. Her home, she says, will devalue by millions.
Now, of course, that's going to annoy anyone. I'm retired and my feathers are all fluffed up. I walk in here and I think, no, they can't do this. They can't.
But the fury in Franschhoek stretches from the exclusive estates down the main road and into the poverty and joblessness of Groendal. It's where lawyer Wilfred Moses has his legal practice and his NGO. Many of the people here, he says, were not informed of the cable car.
And for that reason, they started completely on the wrong foot.
He is well respected in Franschhoek as co-chair of the town's Heritage and Ratepayers Association and president of its Chamber of Commerce. He found parts of the developer's proposal insulting.
They referred to Franschhoek as low-skilled people. That is completely unacceptable. We have in this town very skilled people, highly educated people, people with so many years of experience in construction.
He is also critical of the paltry 37 direct jobs on offer, the 2% community donation, and the developer's approach.
The emphasis is not in what is in the best interest of Franschhoek, but rather what is in the interest of creating generational wealth.
A key investor in the Franschhoek cable car is the 𝗀𝗵𝗶𝘀 family, who still own part of the popular Table Mountain cableway in Cape Town. 2 South Africans, as well as a retired Swiss national from the company that will build the Franschhoek cable car, are shareholders. The Franschhoek Cableway company turned down our request for an interview.
Unfortunately, the shareholders have taken a position that we will not engage on Facebook pages or in the media while the independent processes are underway.
We as Carte Blanche approached the people behind this venture and asked them for an interview, and they've refused us.
You're not serious.
This is shocking to say the least, and I just wonder why they are running away.
So these are the pictures that we've got.
𝗀𝗵𝗶𝘀 is in favour of the project, but when he shared some of the developers' pictures on a local Facebook page, he was lambasted by those against it.
The parking bays behind. Because they disagreed with my stance on the whole issue, I've been called obnoxious, contentious, entitled, a piece of trash, and not the sharpest tool in the shed. I decided at that point to switch off the commentary because of name-calling.
𝗀𝗿𝗆 has run a successful establishment here for years. He is deeply invested in the town and sold his boutique hotel so he can spend more time in the mountains.
We need massive private capital investment coming into the valley, and this is a gift, quite frankly, the way I see it. And if people can't see it, I can only put it down to perhaps a lack of education.
James took me to just below the summit of 𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗆, where the top station will be.
The benefit of drawing people here to have this view that we've got here today, I think you can't put a price on it, it's priceless.
Being up here, the view is spectacular, and you can see why people would want to put money behind a project to share this view. But that's also exactly why people in the village are so adamant that no one should touch this mountain. On peak days, when 3,000 people are forecast to come to the cable car station, I would want to be anywhere but here because it would just be too busy. Retired Professor 𝗀𝗵𝗶𝘀 was one of the founding members of the Franschhoek Transformation Charter, and he and his wife are actively involved in village life.
It's not a boost to tourism. It's purely for the benefit of the cable car.
He says the cable car will destroy the ambiance of Franschhoek with an influx of bussed-in visitors shuttled from car park to car park. What do you think's going to happen?
I think it's going to fizzle out. I think that the people who are trying to get this going are going to get cold feet. I think that the amount of real anger is very strong, and I don't think they will be willing to endure that.
But there are businesses and individuals that support the cable car project. And as accusations flew, at least one claimed defamatory statements had been made against them. The vitriol, we were told, was coming from this Facebook page, Stop Franschhoek Skytram, started by longtime resident 𝗀𝗃𝗿𝗆.
I'm very passionate about town. I do realise that everybody has their own opinions. And I know that I've upset people because of my opinion and my feeling.
A business owner accused 𝗀𝗃𝗿 of rallying support for a boycott of establishments that were in favour of the cable car. Has that passion reached to the point of threatening businesses?
In my personal opinion, I have not threatened anybody. I have stated that I would boycott some stores, and they were not very pleased.
Because some people are accusing you of being a bully.
I think people can perceive me as a bully. I have enough options. I don't have to support businesses that I don't wish to support.
And as the process unfolds, scores of objections are landing in environmental expert 𝗀𝗃𝗏𝗄ry's inbox.
The town themselves shouldn't be fighting with each other. They should be fighting with me. That's my job, to take the flak and to put the facts on the table.
The ratepayers here are proactive. Currently, they're picking apart 𝗀𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗏's reports.
So you have to assume that the silent voice accepts the project.
Their resident engineer says the town has no spare electricity to drive the huge generators and massive motors needed for the cable car. Their specialist says fires on the mountain make the cableway dangerous. They say there is a fatal flaw in the traffic assessment, and both animals and plants on the mountain will be negatively impacted. And they question the benefits outlined in the socio-economic study. But Doug says, trust the process.
Once we get all these comments in, we will understand the cost better. Then the authorities will decide on that cost, whether it's worth it or not, if there is a cost.
What are you going to have if the cable car goes up?
I'm going to have a legal matter on my hands because I will not just sit here and be rolled over.
But the project still has a long way to go before it gets approved by the National Environmental Minister, and even then, it can be appealed. The developers hope to be selling tickets by late 2026. Perhaps they shouldn't hold their breath.